you are not aware of what IgG4 is. Your immune system produces multiple types of antibodies, and the antibodies are like missiles. They target things at a distance and help the immune system to then pick up whether viruses or bacteria or fungi or anything else, a toxin. The immune system uses antibodies. There are multiple types of antibodies. And you have IgM, which is early onset, IgD, IgG, IgA, IgE. For the purposes of what we're talking about, IgG is the long term antibody that the body uses. But even that is split into four groups. You have IgG1 and IgG3, which trigger the immune system to go. They're like the targeting. But you also have IgG4. I'll leave out IgG2 for the time being, but IgG4 does the opposite. It's similar to how the body is always doing that. It always has, if you have a strong action one way, it always has a balancing system. And IgG4 tells the immune system to back off. Don't worry, this is not a problem. This is what happens when beekeepers are continuously stung by bees. They have lots of IgG4 to tell the immune system, don't worry about the bee stings. So IgG4 does have a use and a place, but I wouldn't have thought it was particularly good in the context of vaccines. Why would you want that? This is nothing we have ever seen before. It doesn't even happen with the other COVID vaccines. This is something very unique to mRNA. So it's absolutely critical that this is looked at and clarified. And this is what it would tend to do, is that instead of triggering inflammation to the virus, it will tell the immune system to back off, to stand down. And so therefore you won't pick up the spike protein, and you're likely to have, in theory, more viral circulation across over time. And we saw this in terms of autopsies where there was significant viral dissemination. And a paper specifically looking at this IgG4, which is in yellow, this was from 2023, the class switch. You can see that if someone had mRNA and no infection, it's almost 46% of the antibodies that were produced were tolerant antibodies. This is not what you want. And so, therefore, my question is this antibody response that they said is non-inferior, what percentage targeted the variant that you wanted? And out of the total, what percentage were IgG4? We're talking about 40 to 60% of them being tolerant antibodies. What impact, if these are being produced, will it have on the flu vaccine? How do the two combine together? Will it dampen down the immune response as well to the flu vaccine? We have no idea. We've never seen or done anything like this. As far as I'm concerned, these are unnecessary kinds of gambles. Why would you combine it? Just do the mRNA. If you're going to do it, if you're going to drive it through and ignore all the questions, please at least do it on its own so that we can get 5 or 10-year studies. No, it's okay. Then if you then had to combine them, do another 5 or 10-year set of studies, make sure it's okay. This kind of approach, to me, where they're combining them without that kind of research, is almost like you're trying to hide something, especially when you don't give us the paper. So my point now is, okay, let me extrapolate the science. So you're going to do it with me. And this is now where I'm thinking, okay, what are the implications long term of this continuous production of IgG4? And you know what's interesting? Once the immune system has been primed in this way, even infection triggers IgG4. It's not just vaccination. And so there is ongoing IgG4 production. And I suspect, I've always suspected, this may be the primary reason why it had an impact on severe COVID, because it's a cytokine storm. It's like giving steroids. And so you dampen the immune response, and so therefore you have less of a severe COVID response. But it doesn't mean that people are not going to die. They will just die in different ways. So here is my extrapolation based on the primary targets that I think will be producing autoantibodies to specific proteins. There are three ones that I think are very important. The first one is ACE2. And the autoantibody effects will have an impact on the renin-angiotensin system. That's about blood pressure. So it will go off. So very often you're likely to then see blood pressure going off, kidney disease getting worse. You may get myocarditis, stroke, pulmonary disease, all from ACE2 autoimmunity. It may appear to be dampened because of IgG4, so it will not happen quickly. Neuropilin 1 is another protein that can be triggered with regards to the spike protein. And in this case, you get lots of neurology, neuropathy, chronic pain syndromes, dysautonomia, neuroinflammation. And the third one is CD147, which is on the surface of many immune cells, especially lymphocytes. And so if this is targeted by autoantibodies, you would get fibrosis in the lung and the liver. It could cause clotting issues and inflammation of the blood vessels. This is the kind of prediction based on an autoimmune paradigm that I would therefore expect to happen. So then, when would it happen? That's the problem, because autoimmunity never appears quickly. Autoimmunity is like a slow burn. It just hangs in the background and presents years down the line. And that's my concern, because when and if it presents down the line, nobody will remember why it occurred. Well, I probably will remember, but whether or not I'll be around to tell it is another thing. But here is now the likely prediction based on these premises in terms of time frames. 1 to 3 years, which is where we are, elevated IgG4. That's where we'll see the long COVID issues, multiple reinfections, latent reactivations of many viruses, Epstein-Barr, shingles, all of this will be happening. And there's not going to be much of a mortality shift. It will only be slight, which is where we are. When you look at the Office of National Statistics in the UK, it's not down, but it's not frighteningly up. 3 to 5 years, then you have the IgG4 is just dominant, being produced, triggered all the time. That's where you then have the chronic illnesses, reduced vaccine response. That's when the cancer signals go up because they're tied together. IgG4 suppresses the immune system, and the immune system is critical for cancer. And so you would then see a rise in cancers and chronic disease. 5 to 10 years down the line, by this time, the immune system is just flat. It's not responding. You're seeing early onset cancers, weak responses to new diseases, new infections. You're going to see rising cases, TB, measles. You'll have Campylobacter in India. It will just be all over the world. You're seeing these unusual diseases making a resurgence. And that's when you're going to see a noticeable increase in all-cause mortality. By that point, even if you know, what difference does it make? So many people will be so sick. So many people will be fighting with chronic illness. People would have died. And then you look back and you go, oh, yeah, that was a problem. It's kind of like what happens with asbestos. They knew asbestos was a problem from the 1950s. It wasn't banned until 1999. You know how many people ended up with lung disease because of it? That's the kind of approach we're doing now. And I suspect this is a financial approach, because when you do it that way, the implications financially are far easier to tolerate. We need more advocates. We need more people to ask questions, to push industry into answering the issues that are in front of us, not to just wave it away and keep on going. But this is a lonely journey. It seems as if very few people have any interest in these kind of implications. It's almost as if, let's wait and see. If it's a problem, we'll address it then. Well, the reality is, if that's what you do, you'll not be able to address it. You won't even be able to mitigate it. You will just be able to look at it. That's the reality. So for those people